Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 39 of Was I in the Wrong? Here on the Misty Morrison podcast, we like to judge, we like to give advice, we love all the petty drama. But before we get into our stories for today, our usual housekeeping, whether you are new or returning, please remember to engage with the content. Any type of activity and engagement can help the channel grow. Rate, review, like, share it with a friend, comment with your thoughts on stories down below. I love to read your comments. Share it with a friend if you liked it. Subscribe for more. All the things. Okay, story number 1 is coming to us from r/Am I the Jerk? AITJ for refusing to throw another Friendsgiving after my roommate assumed I'd do all the cooking again. I, 19 female, live in a dorm apartment with 2 roommates. Last year, I planned a big Friendsgiving for our friend group, like 12 people came. I spent hours shopping, cooking, cleaning, and basically making it happen. My roommate helped by grabbing a tub of ice cream on the way back from class. Everyone ate, she took home a bunch of leftovers, and that was about it. This week, she announced in our group chat, "Can't wait for Friendsgiving at my name's again. I'll bring dessert." Except, I never said I was hosting this year. I just got a part-time job, I'm swamped with assignments, and our place is way too cramped to host that many people comfortably. I told her I wasn't planning to do it this year and suggested maybe she host at her boyfriend's apartment, or that we all go out to eat instead. She got annoyed and said I was ruining our tradition and being selfish. She also said she's not really into cooking, so it would be too much work for her. I told her that wasn't my responsibility, and now she's been giving me the cold shoulder. Some of our friends are saying I should just do it again because I'm the one who knows how to cook. So AITA for not wanting to host another Friendsgiving just because everyone assumed I would? No. You know what they say about assumptions. When you make assumptions, you make yourself look like an ass. And that is really what your friend did here by having the audacity to announce in a group chat, "Oh, I can't wait to go to Friendsgiving at your place," when you never said you were doing it. Yeah, I would let her know, whether or not you're really into cooking, it's a lot of work. Even if you know how to cook, it's a lot of work to cook a full meal for 12 people. That's a lot. And also for everyone that is saying you should just do it because you're the one who knows how to cook, this will be a fantastic opportunity for everyone else to learn how to cook because you're adults now. You should be able to cook a meal for yourself or for your friends. So if they want it that bad, if it's so important for them to have like a traditional Friendsgiving where like the meal is homemade and not going out to eat, then they should all pitch in together, pick a person's place, and everyone should bring a dish. If not, enjoy your peace and solitude alone as you do not partake in Friendsgiving. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/AITA_relationships. This one's a short one. AITA for not wanting my brother-in-law's situationship at my wedding. I'm getting married in 2 weeks, and 4 relatives had to drop out due to a medical emergency. My mother-in-law called me to inform me of the situation, even before telling her own son, my fiancé. She then proceeded to ask me on the same call whether we could invite her other son's new situationship. According to him, they are seeing each other, and I don't know how official it is since they've probably only been together for a month or so. I have never met the woman, and I'm sure she's lovely. However, it's my day, and I should be respected if I don't want to include her. Am I the asshole for saying no? Also, why didn't he ask me directly? Yes. I'm saying yes to why didn't he ask you directly? That is suspicious to me. I think maybe he was embarrassed, like feeling like he had to ask. I don't know. I don't like that mommy asked for him. Because you are all adults. I'm assuming he's an adult as well. But as much as I hate the phrase, "it's my day," I'm confused when you say situationship. Because in my mind, when I read the title and you said situationship, it makes it sound like they do not have a good relationship. But you did say you don't know her. I feel like that's pretty common at weddings for like people bringing plus ones. You don't necessarily know their plus one. If everyone else has a plus one, your mom-in-law's other son, so your soon-to-be brother-in-law, if everyone else has a plus one, it is only fair that he should have a plus one. And that should be whoever he chooses for it to be. If that is the case, then you would be the asshole because you would be singling him out by saying, no, I specifically don't want your significant other there because I don't know her. I don't like the singling him out. Let's see. It's my day and I should be respected if I don't want to include her. I think it's fair to say I don't want her in my pictures. Because, these pictures might last a lot longer than their relationship. We don't know. I think it's fair to say I don't want her in the pictures. I don't want her in the wedding. But I don't know that it's fair to say I just don't want her to come. Because, yes, you say they've only been dating for about a month, but what if this is his person? What if this woman he's only been dating for a month right now turns out to be the person that he decides to marry, that he spends the rest of his life with? Then what? Then you have really kind of like soured the beginning of your relationship by saying, I haven't met you yet. We've only been together for a month. I don't want a stranger at my wedding. I don't like that. Because really, as long as she is not in the wedding party, how much of her are you really going to see at the wedding? You call it a situationship like you're not taking their relationship seriously. I don't like that. But really, when I read the title and I heard situationship, I went into it thinking, oh, they have like a tumultuous relationship. Like they fight, they argue. It's going to cause a scene if they both go to the wedding. That's what I was expecting, and this isn't that. If everyone else gets a plus one, he should too. Just let her come. You can ask the photographer, when it comes time for family photos, if your brother or soon-to-be brother-in-law brings her to the photos with him, you can just instruct your photographers to say, hey, make sure that my husband's brother and his girlfriend are on the outside so she can easily be cropped out if their relationship ends. You can tell your photographer that. Because in the moment, no one's going to question the photographer. They're not going to ask why certain people are being moved to the end. They're not going to think about it. Let her come. You will save yourself more drama in the long run by just being nice. So, yeah, you're wrong. Story number 3 is coming to us from a new sub I joined today, r/advice. How do I politely tell a coworker that I can't drive her home every day? I, 20 female, just started my second week at my job. I work on a large property with multiple restaurants. My coworker, also 20 female, lives with her boyfriend. They drive in together every day. He drops her off at the place she works at. She can't drive for reasons I don't know, so she has to rely on her boyfriend to drive her to and from work. Last week, she asked me if I could drop her off at the restaurant he works at that's on property, so she can wait for him to get off at 10. I said sure, as I really don't mind that, so I did that 3 times last week. On Monday, she was finally able to get a key to their place, so she asked me to drive her home instead of her boyfriend's restaurant. She said it was 15 minutes away. When we started driving, I realized it's more of a 20 to 22 minute drive with traffic, as we typically get out at 5 to 5:30. She also lives the opposite direction I live in. Also, the road she lives on is very rough terrain, very rocky and rough. I don't want this to turn into a thing where I'm constantly driving her home. I don't mind on occasion taking her to her boyfriend's restaurant or something like that, but I can't be driving her to her place constantly. If this comes up, how do I politely tell her I can't? We work together every day, so I don't want things to get sour, as I don't want something like that to affect the working environment. I like that you are thinking ahead of the repercussions. Very considerate. I can see a gold box comment and I really want to read it. We will read it once I compose my thoughts here. How do I politely tell a coworker that I can't drive her home every day? So, okay, you dropped her off first. She started small. You dropped her off first at her boyfriend's restaurant, also on property, 3 times. And then as soon as she got a key, she's like, take me home. She lied about the distance. It's the opposite direction, so it's inconveniencing you. The road is rough, and I don't want it turning into a thing where you're constantly driving her home. Okay, so you didn't say on, after you said Monday was the first day she asked you to drive her home. So you didn't say how many times she has asked you to drive her home so far, like how many times in the week. I'm hoping it's not becoming a thing where you actually have to address it. But first, on the boyfriend's restaurant on property. I work at a large property with multiple restaurants. I really wish we had more context as to how large a property, because if it's on property, see, I don't quite know what that means, because if it's on property, in my mind, she should be able to walk there. Like if she is having like a long wait, if you guys get off at 5:30 and he gets off at 10. So if she was going and she had like a 4 to 5 hour wait for him, she had time to walk there. So it was weird for me to start with that she wanted a ride when in my mind she could have walked. Again, we don't know why she doesn't drive. We don't know if there's a medical condition. But without those details, in my mind, she should be walking to that restaurant instead of inconveniencing someone else. I get it, like if it's raining or something, or if it's 100 degrees outside. Okay, fair. But to ask one person to drive you 3 times in 1 week feels excessive to me if you have any other options. And about driving her home, I think it's really easy to politely, she might be entitled, I don't know, but I think it's really easy to decline in a polite way. If she asks you like 3 times next week, okay, the 3rd time you draw your line, you say, hey, I'll go ahead and drive you home today. I'm sure you haven't made other plans, but I can't continue to drive you home every day. You are 20 minutes in the opposite direction from my house. It's really cutting into my personal time after work. It's really inconveniencing me. It's costing extra gas. Your road's really rough. I'm not used to like wear and tear from a road that rough. It's really inconvenient. We're not going to be able to continue the situation of me driving you home after work. I think that's fair. I don't think you can say it like in the moment that she's asking and like decline that day, because clearly she had an expectation that you were her ride. So I think like if it starts to come up repeatedly, you decide like how many times you're willing to, you draw your line, and on the day you draw your line, she asks for a ride home, you say, sure, I'll go ahead and do it today, but you're going to have to make other arrangements. This is inconvenient for me. It's not working with my schedule. For all the reasons that you listed here, you can say, this is not going to work for me long term. And that is fair. That is kind. That is polite. You have already done more than you had to do for her. She should be very understanding and easily accept that. Her response to that should be, if she is a kind, reasonable, understanding person, her response should be, okay, I completely understand. Not a problem. Thank you so much for going ahead and giving me a ride today. I appreciate it. That should be it. It sucks for her that her and her boyfriend are on such different schedules that, she has to wait for him that long. But if that's what it is, if they can't make their schedules line up, then that's what it is. That is not your problem to solve. You have been kind enough. So yeah, it's not, an am I the asshole question, it's just asking for advice. So that's what I recommend. This has been here for 6 days. You probably already got your advice, but that's how I would say it, to be kind but also firm. So the gold box comment, also 6 days ago, says, this happened to me once. A very polite, hey, I did that as a favor, but it's not something I can do frequently, is enough. They may never offer gas money. It is their responsibility to arrange transportation. It is not your problem. You are a tool, not their friend. If they demand more of an explanation, even if you have one, opposite direction, etc., don't play that game. No thank you. It's not a negotiation. Edit, did not expect this to blow up. LOL, thanks for the award, guys. Glad to see so much support for the anti-enabling brigade. I mean, yeah, if you It said how to say it politely. I mean, that's like just saying I did it as a favor. It's not something I can do frequently. That is also polite and it's enough. I like to come prepared with a reason why, because you have to expect that they're going to ask. And I mean, no, you don't, like this commenter says, you don't owe them an explanation. It's not negotiation, but I don't think that giving an explanation equals a negotiation. I think it's fair if you want to give a reason. I did have that happen a couple of times. When I worked in retail one time, I was like the key holder at the store. So when the store manager wasn't there, I was in charge and I tended to work more closing shifts than opening. And for a while I worked with a kid, and I say kid because he was a teenager. And there's one night he was training, he was really slow. It was 11 o'clock at night when we got out. We finally get the store closed up, shut the lights off. Actually, they shut off automatically. We've been using flashlights because it took so long. 11 o'clock, we walk out the door. I lock the door, turn to walk to my car. And at that moment, this kid says, actually, can you give me a ride home? There's nobody here for me today. It is 11 o'clock at night in an empty parking lot. You have no other options. You are going to be standing out here alone in the dark. It's a safe town. He would have been fine. But you waited until, it wasn't even the fact that he asked. I didn't like him. I didn't want to do it. It's not even the fact that he asked. It is the fact that he expected, because he waited until we were closed. The doors were locked. It's 11 o'clock. What are you going to do? He waited until I basically didn't have an option and asked for a ride. So despite the fact that I didn't like him, I was annoyed at the situation, he was about 15 minutes the opposite direction from me. I gave him a ride. And I think he did that one other time. And then the second time I was like, yes, because it's late and the store is closed, but you need to make sure that you have someone set up to pick you up. If you, like, part of the interview asked if you had reliable transportation. I'm not that. I'm not. Yeah, there's very few people that I was ever incredibly annoyed to work with. That was one of those people. Okay. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/AITA_WIBTA_public. AITA for telling my stepdaughter I am no longer letting her borrow my car or giving her any of my money. My 50 male stepdaughter, 32 female, has been married to her husband, 28 male, for 3 years now. Her husband has always believed in separate finances and believes my daughter should work and split the bills 50-50. Despite me pleading her not to marry him, she did because she loved him. Now, 3 years later, my daughter calls me constantly to borrow my car because her husband's broke down and doesn't have any money to fix it. They are super bad with money, especially him, but she follows his lead and they act rich, buying things they don't need or spending money on experiences. My daughter makes more money than he does, and even though he believes in 50-50, he says she can pay the big bills because she makes more. He also has more fun money than she does because he makes her pay for car and home repairs. My wife tells me we need to help her because she's our daughter, but I told her I'm done funding her lazy-ass husband. It's not even about her. I had a serious conversation and told my daughter, I didn't raise you to be this dumb. Leave his ass. You can find someone better. My wife thinks I was wrong for this and says we aren't helping him, we're helping our daughter. You're enabling him. I said I was done, and if she wanted to keep giving them money, she could go out and get a job, but she could not use my money. I recently found out that my wife behind my back paid for a roof repair that cost $2,000. I was furious and said I told her not to be using my money and said to my daughter, I'm no longer funding your lazy ass husband and you can't borrow my car any longer. If you want to stay with this bum, then you can suffer the consequences. My wife thinks I overreacted and says our daughter is upset and crying. She's asking me to apologize, but I refuse. AITA. Okay, I can't see any comments on this one yet because it was so long and I don't need to. No, you are not the asshole. You have helped this couple because truly when you help one, you're helping the couple. You have helped this couple more than enough. You have been more than generous. And at this point, you are enabling him. I know like the intention is to help your daughter, but in doing so, you're enabling him because she's helping him. You're not wrong. You do not owe your daughter an apology. You did the right thing. It is just hard when at 32 years old, this is when you're cutting her off. This is when you're saying, I'm done. And that's really hard to hear, especially when you are used to, and she is certainly expecting your help. I got so aggravated at the beginning where it's like the husband believes in separate finances. He believes in splitting the bills 50-50. Okay, fine. But then when you get down to she makes more money, so they're actually not splitting it 50-50 like he wanted at his request. She has to pay the big bills because she makes more. That is not 50-50. Someone needs to show this man a definition of what 50-50 means because this isn't it. Besides, she pays the big bills. So probably like if there's a mortgage or an electric bill, those would be the bigger ones. She probably pays all of those, not half of those. And let's see. And he makes her pay for car and home repairs. And let's see. His car's broke down. It doesn't even say anything about her having a car. I hate that she doesn't see where this is wrong and he is potentially being financially abusive because he wants to preach separate finances and we're splitting everything 50-50, but they're not. And she could be doing so much because you do say she works, she makes more money. She could be doing so much better for herself if she wasn't with him. And she really can't change the current situation while she's in it because, like, if she says, hey, that's actually not 50-50, so I'm going to, pay for half the mortgage, you're going to pay for half the mortgage. That car is yours. That's your half of the vehicular expenses. You can pay to fix it. He's not going to. He's not going to pay for his car repairs. And if she says, hey, I went ahead and deposited half of the rent money or the mortgage, you need to go ahead and put your half in by this date, he's not going to. And so if she did try to like push him, she would end up in a worse situation because the bills wouldn't get paid. That's why she's here. I like that you tried to help her. I like that you were honest with her at the beginning and said, don't marry him. But she did. She loves him. She is blind in love. That happens. Hopefully, you putting your foot down here is the push that she needs to wake up and to see what's really happening. I would fully support you like helping her get back on her feet if she does decide to leave him. But it doesn't really sound like that's what's going to happen. It sounds like she's trying to cry to mom to get help over you. It honestly, like you already said that your wife did a roof repair, $2,000 without seeing anything. Like after that, like if this continues, it sounds like you and your wife might have to have separate finances so you can make sure that you're protecting your assets from your daughter's irresponsible husband. Yeah, that sounds hard. I don't like that, but that's where you're at. Put your foot down, and you might have to even take it further by cutting your wife off access as well. I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope your wife can come to your side and see how you being a hard ass now is really trying to push her and trying to help her grow. So you are right. I fully support you cutting off the daughter in an effort to stop enabling her husband. Okay. That is 4 stories. Yes, for 4 stories for this week's episode of Was I in the Wrong? Thank you so much for being here. I love talking to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought on these stories. If you voted the same as me or something different, let me know, and I will talk to you guys next time for another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast. Bye.